Burn your vision board. Tear up that 5-year plan you wrote last New Year's. Throw away the journals where you plead with the universe for what you want. They are not helping you. They are holding you back. They keep you dependent on a future that does not exist. You have been taught that success requires a goal, a perfect destination shining in the distance. But look at your life. Truly look at it. Has chasing that goal made you stronger? Or has it made you restless? Has it given you control or turned you into a servant of an outcome you cannot predict? Niccolò Machiavelli, one of the most misunderstood strategists in history, did not rely on goals. He did not depend on hope. He did not wait for permission from the world. He had something colder and more precise. He had a method. A goal is a wish disguised as a plan. A method is a siege. And if you are exhausted from wishing, if you are tired of climbing ladders only to discover they rest against the wrong wall, then you are ready for the truth. But understand this clearly. This is not self-help. This is self-mastery. Most people spend their entire lives in a state of becoming, always waiting for the promotion, the relationship, the money, the body. They live in the not yet. And because they live in the not yet, they are empty in the present. They are fragile. One unexpected hit from life, one shift in fortune, and they collapse. Why? Because their identity was tied to a goal they had not reached. Machiavelli understood that the world is chaos. He called it fortuna, the violent, unpredictable river of fate. If you build your life on the riverbank of goals, you will drown when the flood arrives, and it always arrives. What I will teach you today is how to stop building on the bank and start becoming the river. I will show you how to replace fragile goals with the unbreakable Machiavellian principle of positioning. When you master this, you stop obsessing over success or failure. Those labels lose meaning. You simply move forward. You become inevitable. You become a force that cannot be stopped because you are no longer aiming at one point. You are expanding in every direction. But to do this, you must end the part of you that loves to dream, the part that gets a dopamine rush from talking about what you plan to do. You must quiet the child who wants rewards and awaken the strategist who demands power. The method is simple, but not easy. It requires you to see your life not as a story, but as a battlefield. And on a battlefield, you do not hope, you maneuver. Let's begin. Why do you set goals? Ask yourself, honestly, why do you write, I want to make $1 million, or I want to be happy? Because you are in pain. You are dissatisfied with your current reality. So you invent a future fantasy to escape the present. The goal is not a map. It is a painkiller. It numbs you to the truth that right now, you are not who you want to be. Machiavelli rejected hope. He saw it as weakness. In The Prince, he suggests that relying on time to fix your problems is the behavior of a fool. He wrote that people deceive themselves by imagining the world as they want it to be, instead of seeing it as it is. When you fixate on a goal, you develop tunnel vision. You stare at the mountain peak and miss the cliff beneath your feet. You become rigid, and in nature, rigid things break. Think about the last major goal. You failed. What happened? You crashed. You felt useless. You felt like an imposter. Why? Because you placed your entire self-worth on an outcome beyond your control. You handed your power to the future. Machiavelli offers another path for two. This is not virtue in the moral sense. It is not about being good. It is about being effective. It means skill, power, adaptability, and ruthless competence. A Machiavellian does not say, I want to be rich. That is passive desire. A Machiavellian says, I will develop persuasion. I will master the movement of capital. I will place myself where money must pass through me. Do you see the difference? The first is a wish. The second reshapes reality. The goal setter depends on luck. I hope this works. The strategist depends on necessity. When you remove goals, you are not quitting. You are becoming serious. You look at your life and ask, where are the leverage points? Where am I weak? Where am I losing energy? Who blocks my Progress. This is the shift from dreamer to architect. The dreamer looks upward. The architect studies the foundation. Right now, your foundation is cracking because you keep looking at the sky. Stop staring at the horizon. Look at your hands. Look at your feet. What can you control right now? What system can you build today that makes the result unavoidable? Machiavelli teaches that outcomes often lie beyond our control. Fortuna spins her wheel, but preparation and strategy belong to you. And if your strategy is sound, even a bad result cannot destroy you. You adjust. You adapt. You move on. This is the first step to becoming untouchable. You must stop loving the destination and start loving the siege. We live in a noisy age. Everyone announces their moves. I'm starting a business. I'm going to the gym. I'm working on a new project. You post it online. You tell your friends. You seek approval before you have taken the first real step. Machiavelli would call this self-destruction. He famously used the image of the lion and the fox. The lion is strong. It terrifies the wolves. But the lion walks into traps. The fox is physically weaker, yet the fox notices the traps. To be truly strong, you need both qualities. However, when it comes to ambition, you must act as the fox. When you announce your objective, two things occur. First, your brain releases dopamine. It provides the chemical reward of success before you have earned it. You feel good. You feel productive. And because that feeling arrives early, the drive to finish the work fades. You have fooled your own mind into comfort. Second, you generate resistance. The moment you tell others what you want, you invite opposition. Some people envy you. Some doubt you. Others quietly want you to fail so they can feel better about their own lack of progress. You hand them a target. Machiavelli warned that a prince should never expose his true intentions until action is already underway. One must be a great pretender and deceiver, he wrote. Remove your goals from your bio. Remove them from casual talk. Move quietly. This is not only about secrecy. It is about preserving energy. Speaking drains power. Action creates power. Think of building a weapon. Do you talk about it openly? Do you show everyone the plans? No. You construct it in silence. You assemble it carefully. The world only learns of it when it detonates. Become that force. Rather than a goal, develop a hidden agenda. A goal is external. I want a promotion. A hidden agenda is internal. I will make myself essential to decision makers, collect influence, and apply pressure when the moment is right. Notice the difference in weight. The goal asks. The agenda prepares. When you operate with a hidden agenda, your behavior changes. You enter meetings without anxiety about attention. You observe. You assess. You calculate. You know something others do not. You are playing a game they do not even realize has begun. This creates a quiet pull. People sense when someone is holding and used power. It unsettles them. It earns respect. They cannot explain your confidence because you never explained yourself. That uncertainty gives you advantage. Stop chasing praise for results you have not delivered. Deprive the ego. Strengthen the shadow. Let outcomes be the only sound you make. This is where most people fail. They set a goal. They work. They give up comfort. Then life intervenes. Illness appears. The market collapses. A relationship ends. The goal becomes unreachable. The goal-focused person breaks down. They complain. They say it is unfair. They sink into despair. They believe the world is working against them. The Machiavellian smiles. He smiles because he understands that fortuna, luck, fate, chaos, is like a woman who responds to strength. She is unpredictable. She is forceful. She ignores your plans. When your goal is rigid, chaos becomes your enemy. When you operate with in the Machiavellian system, chaos is not an enemy. It is fuel. Machiavelli wrote, I judge that it is better to be bold than cautious. For fortune is a woman, and she is more easily won by the bold than by those who act coldly. What this means is simple. You must act aggressively toward reality. When a plan collapses, you do not freeze. You move forward and confront the new problem. Remove the idea of plan A and plan B. There is only the objective and the terrain. The objective is power, freedom, control, and resources. The terrain is whatever exists right now. If the terrain changes, you do not complain that the map is wrong. You discard the map and study the ground. Imagine you lose your job. The goal-focused thinker says, my plan to become a VP is destroyed. I've failed. The strategist says, the terrain has shifted. I am now a free agent. My urgency has increased. I will use this pressure to move into a higher leverage industry that comfort once kept me from entering. The event is identical. The reaction is completely different. One person is crushed by reality. The other turns reality into an advantage. This is the principle of anti-fragility. You must place yourself where disorder benefits you. Do not build a glass castle, build a fire. Wind extinguishes a candle, but it feeds a fire. When you live only by goals, you are a candle. You fear disruption. When you live by a power system, you are the fire. You welcome pressure. You seek difficulty. You accept chaos because you know it will make you stronger and more effective. Ask yourself honestly, if you lost everything tomorrow, would you know exactly what to do? If the answer is no, you are overly attached to stability. You have become soft. You need to mentally practice the destruction of your current life. Machiavelli spent years in exile. He was tortured. His titles were taken from him. Did he quit? No. He sat in the dirt and wrote The Prince. He turned exile into one of the most influential political works in history. He did not return to power in Florence the way he planned, but he achieved something larger. He claimed the future. He used suffering as ink. What are you doing with your suffering? Are you allowing it to decay inside you? Or are you using it? We are taught to love ourselves, to practice self-care, to be gentle with our flaws. And while rest has its place, weakness does not. Machiavelli asked a well-known question, is it better to be loved or feared? His answer was clear, it is best to be both. But if one must choose, it is safer to be feared than loved. Apply this inward. Do you love yourself? Most likely. You allow yourself to sleep late. You permit junk food. You skip work when motivation is low. That is self-love, and that love is producing mediocrity. You must fear yourself. Fear the part of you that avoids effort. Fear the part that settles. Fear the version of you that wakes up 5 years from now with nothing to show for the time. You must become your own tyrant. This sounds severe, and it is. But examine the results of gentleness. Look at where softness has led society. Weak bodies, weak minds, fragile emotions. A Machiavellian ruler imposes order on chaos. You are the ruler of your own mind. Yet right now, your mind is in rebellion. Your impulses are out of control. They crave easy dopamine and constant comfort. If you try to love them into obedience, they will ignore you. You must end the rebellion. Remove the goal of losing weight. Replace it with the mandate of physical sovereignty. A sovereign does not negotiate with terrorists, and your cravings are exactly that. They are holding your potential hostage. When you develop internal fear, a deep respect for your standards, you stop relying on external motivation. You no longer need videos to hype you up or quotes to push you forward. You act from necessity. You act because you must. Because the alternative is submission to impulse. Here is the paradox. When you are strict with yourself, you become free. Discipline is the only real freedom. When you command yourself to do what is difficult, and you follow through, you experience a power that no external goal can provide. You feel dangerous. You enter a room knowing, I can control myself. Therefore, I can control this situation. Most people cannot control what they eat for breakfast. How can they expect to control a negotiation? How can they expect to control their future? Establish the law within yourself. Create your own constitution. I do not complain. I do not talk about plans. I carry them out. I do not react to insults. I study them. Break the law and discipline yourself. Follow the law and reward yourself. Be a just ruler, but also a firm one. So if we remove goals, what takes their place? What does the Machiavellian method of power look like on an ordinary Tuesday morning? It comes down to 3 pillars. Positioning, leverage, adaptability. Positioning. Stop asking, what do I want to achieve? Start asking, where do I need to be positioned? If you want wealth, place yourself where money is already moving. Do not set a goal to earn $10,000. Stand where $10,000 is being exchanged. Learn the language of that environment. Adopt its rules and behaviors. If you want strength, place yourself in environments that demand resistance. Success is not a race. It is a location. Move your body and your thinking into spaces where success becomes a natural outcome. Leverage. Goals work in straight lines. 1 + 1 = 2. Leverage works exponentially. 1 plus 1 can equal 10. Machiavelli did not fight every battle alone. He relied on alliances. He used the armies of others. Now look at your own life. Are you trying to do everything through force? How can technology work for you? How can you use other people's time? How can you use other people's resources? The strategist asks one question. How do I achieve the greatest result with the least required effort? This is not laziness. It is efficiency. It is saving energy for the decisive strike. Adaptability. Each morning, assess your surroundings. Read the room. Read the market. Read your own energy. If you are tired, focus on low-energy planning work. If you feel strong, execute demanding tasks. Do not force yourself into the wrong task just because your calendar says so. Be fluid. If the door is locked, use the window. If the window is blocked, dig underneath. If the ground is too hard, wait until it softens. Keep moving, but never fear changing direction. This method works because it removes the emotional burden of failure. You cannot fail when you adapt continuously. You can only be delayed. And for a strategist, delay is simply time to sharpen the blade. When you remove goals and adopt this system, something changes in your presence. You no longer look desperate. You stop appearing as if you were chasing something. You begin to look like someone who already possesses control. People are drawn to certainty. In a world full of anxious goal setters, the person with a system holds power. You become the center of the storm, calm, focused, observant. While others panic over 5-year plans, you are quietly laying foundations for something that lasts 50. You stop chasing fantasies of the future. You start mastering the present. Every action becomes deliberate. Every silence becomes strategic. Every setback turns into a lesson in angles and positioning. This is the Machiavellian approach. It is not for everyone. It is heavy. It is isolating. It demands the removal of the part of you that wants rescue. No one is coming to save you. No goal will rescue you. Only you can do that. And you will not do it by hoping. You will do it by directing. You are awake now. You have faced the depth of your ambition without looking away. But understanding the idea is only step one. The mind is deceptive. It will try to return to old patterns. Tomorrow morning, it will attempt to set a goal again. You must observe it. You must protect the authority of your mind. There is one trap that defeats even skilled strategists. Emotional leakage. The moment feelings begin to control strategy, clarity collapses. Machiavelli warned against this more than anything else. In the next video, we will break down how to detach from emotion so completely that manipulation no longer works on you. You believe you are calm. You have not yet experienced true stillness. Click here. Let's go deeper. End.